Scandals that shook the world. What they don't tell you. Throughout history, scandals have erupted across the globe, shocking societies and exposing the darker sides of power, corruption, and deceit. Many of these scandals not only captivated public attention, but also changed the course of history, often with lasting consequences. Some were covered up, others were sensationalized, and some truths were buried beneath layers of deception. Here are some of the most significant scandals that shook the world, along with the secrets and consequences often left untold. The Watergate scandal, a breach of trust. The Watergate scandal, which unfolded in the early 1970s, remains one of the most infamous political scandals in U.S. history. It began with the break-in at the Democratic National Committee headquarters in the Watergate complex in 1972 and escalated into a full-blown constitutional crisis. President Richard Nixon and his administration were implicated in a cover-up involving illegal activities, including wiretapping, political espionage, and obstruction of justice. Nixon eventually resigned in 1974, becoming the only U.S. president to do so. What they don't tell you. While Watergate is often framed as an isolated incident of political corruption, it was symptomatic of broader abuses of power within the American government during the Cold War era. The scandal revealed the extent to which government officials were willing to use covert operations, manipulation of the media, and surveillance to maintain control. It also set a precedent for future whistleblowers, emboldening those who sought to expose corruption at the highest levels of power. Yet, despite the public's disillusionment, many of the tactics revealed during Watergate have persisted in political circles, raising questions about the effectiveness of reforms implemented in its aftermath. The Dreyfus Affair, a nation divided. The Dreyfus Affair, which unfolded in France in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, was a deeply divisive political and judicial scandal. It involved the wrongful conviction of Captain Alfred Dreyfus, a Jewish officer in the French army, for treason in 1894. Dreyfus was accused of passing military secrets to the Germans and was sentenced to life imprisonment. However, evidence later emerged that another officer was the real culprit, leading to Dreyfus's eventual exoneration. What they don't tell you. The Dreyfus Affair wasn't just a scandal about a miscarriage of justice. It exposed the deep-rooted anti-Semitism within French society and institutions. The affair polarized France, pitting those who supported Dreyfus, Dreyfusards, against those who believed in his guilt, anti-Dreyfusards. The scandal highlighted the fragility of the French Republic and foreshadowed the rise of xenophobia and nationalism that would later contribute to the horrors of World War II. The affair also had profound implications for the Jewish community, influencing the early Zionist movement as many Jews in Europe began to feel that assimilation would not protect them from persecution. The Profumo Affair. Sex, spies, and scandal. In the early 1960s, Britain was rocked by the Profumo Affair, a scandal that combined sex, espionage, and politics. John Profumo, the British Secretary of State for War, was caught in an affair with Christine Keeler, a 19-year-old model who was also involved with a Soviet naval attaché. When the affair came to light in 1963, Profumo initially denied it, but was later forced to confess. The scandal led to his resignation and damaged the reputation of Prime Minister Harold Macmillan's government, contributing to its downfall. What they don't tell you. While the Profumo Affair is often remembered as a scandal of infidelity, its deeper significance lies in the Cold War tensions and fears of espionage that gripped Britain at the time. The affair exposed the vulnerability of the British government to security breaches and raised concerns about the potential influence of Soviet spies within high society. It also revealed the class divide in Britain, with the scandal becoming a symbol of the moral hypocrisy of the political elite. The media frenzy surrounding the Profumo Affair also marked a turning point in British journalism, as tabloid newspapers increasingly blurred the lines between serious political reporting and sensationalism. The Iran-Contra Affair. Shadowy deals and secret wars. The Iran-Contra Affair, which took place during the Reagan administration in the 1980s, was a complex scandal involving the illegal sale of arms to Iran and the secret funding of Contra rebels in Nicaragua. Despite a U.S. arms embargo on Iran, senior officials in the Reagan administration arranged for the sale of weapons to Iran in exchange for hostages held by Hezbollah. The proceeds from these arms sales were then illegally diverted to fund the Contras, a rebel group fighting the Sandinista government in Nicaragua. The scandal became public in 1986, leading to investigations, resignations, and criminal convictions for several officials. What they don't tell you. The Iran-Contra affair is often portrayed as a case of rogue officials, acting independently of President Reagan, but the scandal was part of a broader pattern of U.S. covert operations during the Cold War. The U.S. government had a long history of using secretive means to influence foreign conflicts, often in violation of international law and U.S. policy. The affair also exposed the growing power of the executive branch and the use of plausible deniability to shield leaders from accountability. Although several officials were convicted, many were later pardoned, raising concerns about the lack of consequences for illegal actions taken in the name of national security. The Enron scandal, corporate greed exposed. The Enron scandal, which broke in 2001, was one of the largest corporate fraud cases in history. Enron, once a leading energy company, was found to have engaged in widespread accounting fraud to hide its debts and inflate its profits. The company's collapse led to billions of dollars in losses for investors and employees, and its executives were charged with a range of crimes, including fraud, insider trading, and obstruction of justice. What they don't tell you. While the Enron scandal is often seen as an isolated case of corporate greed and corruption, it exposed systemic issues within the U.S. financial system. The scandal revealed the complicity of major financial institutions, auditing firms, and government regulators in allowing Enron's fraudulent activities to go unchecked for years. It also highlighted the darker side of deregulation and the pursuit of profit at any cost. Despite the implementation of new regulations, such as the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, critics argue that the underlying issues of corporate malfeasance and regulatory failures persist in the financial world, as evidenced by later scandals like the 2008 financial crisis. The Vatican Bank scandal, faith and finance collide. The Vatican Bank scandal of the 1980s revealed the murky intersection of religion, finance, and organized crime. The scandal centered around the collapse of Banco Ambrosiano, a major Italian bank with close ties to the Vatican Bank. It was discovered that the bank had been involved in money laundering, embezzlement, and illegal financial activities. The mysterious death of Banco Ambrosiano's chairman, Roberto Calvi, who was found hanging under Blackfriars Bridge in London, added to the intrigue. The Vatican was accused of using its financial institutions to launder money for criminal organizations, including the mafia. What they don't tell you. The Vatican Bank scandal was not just a financial scandal, but also a reflection of the deep corruption and power struggles within the Catholic Church. The scandal exposed the influence of secretive groups, such as the Masonic Lodge P2, and the Vatican's involvement in geopolitical maneuverings during the Cold War. The Vatican's refusal to fully cooperate with investigations and its efforts to protect its reputation have led to ongoing suspicions about the true extent of its financial dealings. The scandal also raised questions about the lack of transparency and accountability within religious institutions, particularly when it comes to managing vast sums of money. Conclusion: these scandals that shook the world remind us of the hidden truths and complexities beneath the surface of historical events. While the public often receives a sanitized version of these scandals, deeper examination reveals layers of deceit, power struggles, and corruption that continue to shape our understanding of history. By uncovering what they don't tell you, we gain a more nuanced perspective on the forces that have shaped our world and the lessons we can learn from these dramatic and often tragic events.